deliver. All right, now on Bounce, every Tuesday we select a few topics affecting parents and children to discuss with none other than Ask Mama Mack, Brigida's mother.
That is right. She's my mama. Nice to have you with us tonight, Mom.
Nice to be here.
I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about the topics we have for you tonight.
I know.
You ready?
She got a little preview in the newsroom.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Here we go. Look, and like I said,
she looks thrilled, folks.
And let me just say, I know this is the second week we've been here, but you know you're bad. You know you're a bad mamma jamma, if you will. Can I say that?
Where's this going?
When you got your own graphic.
Oh, okay.
That is
so very
cute.
true. Look at it. It's so cute.
Nice. Very nice.
Right,
I like that.
You like it?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
yes,
good.
Here we go.
Thank
Parents.
you, Mandy.
Parents,
Yes.
some of your children may not be using birth control or protection because they're afraid you're going to find out they're having sex, right? A recent survey says 68% of teenagers agree with the statement. They say they're scared of what you will think or say. The National Campaign to Prevent Teen and Unplanned Pregnancy says it's worrisome even at a time when teenage pregnancy rates have dropped. Experts say May is National Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month and the perfect time for parents to talk about sex. Mama Mack, many parents don't feel comfortable with the kids talking to them about sex. What can you say to encourage those parents to do so?
I feel the same way.
Yeah, she totally put the Birds and the Bees talks on Daddy growing up.
He did.
But somebody needs to talk, right?
You want to know what
the
his
conversation needs to be had. Yes, indeed. Yeah, and her daddy threatened to put a chastity belt on she and her sister.
That was the extent of the Birds and the Bees talk.
Yeah.
Turned out to be highly effective.
Yeah, so it's true. Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you have a talk?
Huh? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, you thought you were going to get away with this.
I can't hear
Mr.
you.
Little, you
I can't hear you.
absolutely can't.
Straight
I'm going to take
monologue.
that as a resounding no. But because you were uncomfortable, Mom, do you think that that is kind of like looking back, that maybe you should have pushed through that discomfort so that we were getting information from you guys and not whatever we heard, you know, on the school bus or in the classroom?
The thing about you guys who, you know, back in the day, because you don't, like you said earlier, we didn't have all the tech, you know, stuff down that we have. And if you had a question, you, Sharmina, you guys would confront us with it, and we try and answer to the best of our ability without sounding like we didn't know what we were talking about. So, or going into much detail to
Too deep, yes.
cause curiosity to arise, and you know.
But there was also, again, just flat out fear.
Yeah.
That in the chastity belt.
Right.
Right. But you're right. And when you go back to the fact that children nowadays have way more different things going on with Facebook and tweeting.
And so you kind of
stuff,
have to talk about it because
you
your
do.
kid's going to see, you know, get a racy text message, see something, if it's getting passed around at school with the other kids, you know, you kind of have to.
Right.
So this next story, the photo of a professor in Jerusalem holding a fussy baby while teaching class has gone viral. Take a look. A mother made a tough choice to bring her son to class when she had no one to watch him. When he began to cry, the professor simply scooped the little boy up to calm him and continued his lecture on organizational management, no less. Someone snapped a photo of him, and after it was posted on social media, the Hebrew University professor has become a viral sensation of sorts. He says he encourages his students to allow kids to tag along to class. He says the reason that education is just not simply conveying content, but also teaching values. So, Mama Mack, this sort of thing isn't surprising in Israel, but I think in America we might be surprised to see this happen because a lot of times moms who breastfeed in public get dirty looks. You know?
They do. But they're a little bit too open about breastfeeding now. When
I mean, even with like a little cover?
Well, I mean, back in the day when I was breastfeeding you, we were out in public. Yes, you cover yourself. Now you just, they just flop it out and there it is. I'm sorry, it is. I mean, you know, you just see them everywhere.
I owe Mama money because I said that I would pay money to hear her explain it like that.
But I mean, really, truly, we had a sense of, from our parents, you know, there was the decency, you know.
Right.
So therefore, if you're going to breastfeed your child, yes, we knew you were breastfeeding, but yes, we weren't looking right at your breasts, you know.
Yes.
And have a little consideration of others that.
And again, we're not saying there's anything wrong with
No,
breastfeeding in
it's
public.
very
Let's be very clear.
natural.
That's not what we're saying.
No.
But she's saying, you know, throw a little.
Yeah, cover
What is it?
yourself.
A little burpee cloth.
Yeah, or
over your shoulder.
A little bit of dignity of how you handle
Something,
it.
yes.
Right. How you do it around other people.
But you just not
in consideration.
Oh,
Yes.
Would you ever see, do you think we'd ever see a teacher or a professor here do something like this teacher in Israel did?
I would love to see that. I would like to think that we would be more considerate that a mother has to bring her child in order to get her, you know, further her education, to be considerate enough to say, okay, you got to cry, baby. Yeah. Yeah, let me just give a little attention there.
All right. Let's go with the sound off. We've been doing that. We've hit it twice tonight. Let's hit it one more time. By a teacher who lost his job after a parent accused him of allowing students to have sex in his classroom's closet.
A Georgia mom right here with concealing her identity says she discovered an exchange of text messages between her 14-year-old son and his math teacher. She says Quentin Wright told her son he and a girl could have the storage closet for an hour.
She says the teacher said both of the students couldn't share it with anyone. The mom says Mr. Wright also stated that he didn't have condoms.
She says it's sickening because parents trust administrators and educators when they drop their kids off at school. The mom, though, says she was suspicious of this teacher from the start when he asked to come over and take pictures with her sons before the 8th grade prom. That was a little strange.
Yeah, Lee was talking about that. She said that may have been one of the strangest things in the whole story. The school fired Wright, and now at least one misdemeanor warrant has been issued. So, Mama Mack, should the students be held responsible too?
Not, you know, yes, I think so, but I just can't get the teacher. I mean, you know, what is his purpose for being a teacher? To encourage sex in his closet? I'm just as crazy. And then the students to take advantage of it. You know, this goes back to, you know, I guess having that talk so that you can, you know, ward that off. That, you know, just because it's there and available doesn't mean you have to jump in the same boat with everybody else.
Right.
You know.
It's the old if you jumped off, if they jumped off the cliff, would you jump off?
Yeah, would you jump with it? I mean, you know, come on. Where's the common sense? You know, just because it's there.
Mama Mack, always a pleasure.
Thank
to
you.
have you here.
Sorry, we
Always
kind of cracked you up, but anyway.
That was pretty funny. That was pretty good stuff. As always, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Stay here. More after the break.